So zero-based budgeting, the method for you. Today's video, we're going to be breaking it down, guys, because it is the personal method that I use myself. So zero-based budgeting is a perfect sum of zero. So your income minus your expenses is going to go to an absolute zero, meaning every dollar has a purpose and every dollar has a place. Now, how does zero-based budgeting? Again, this is a question that I get quite a bit because this is something that I do talk about. Number one, listing your monthly income. This is going to be on a sheet of paper. This could be a budgeting app, which a lot of people are using, but what counts as income? This is your regular paycheck. This is any of your side hustle. This is any of your dividends. This is anything that you are going to get that you're going to classify during the month as income. If it's quarterly, I wouldn't include it unless you're going to break it down kind of on a monthly basis, but you want to make sure that you're adding it all down, or you're writing it all down, you're adding it all up so you know exactly the number you're starting with. That is going to be point one, guys, is the basis of where we are starting. Point two is going to be your expenses. Now, the expenses, of course, are going to come out within food, utility, shelter, transportation, any essentials when it comes to insurance, debt, childcare, when it comes to saving money, which we always recommend paying yourself first, but looking at fun, entertainment, if you're going out to eat, holidays, celebrations, everything that goes into this expense category is what you're going to put in this one, guys. And again, it doesn't really take into account the 50-30-20 rule. It is more of a strict budgeting guideline when you're going to look at this. Third part of this, guys, is subtracting your expenses till the income equals zero. That is right, guys. This is really the breakdown, and it's very interesting to see because essentially, if you're making $2,000 a month minus all your expenses, you're going to have a amount left, hopefully, if you're not running in the red every single month. But when you get to that very last one, that is right, you are going to allocate the money that is left in the budget to equal zero, which means there is going to be some place that you're going to put this. This could be extra money towards debt repayment. It could be extra money to savings. It could be extra money into an investment plan. That is really the way that you want to do and the way that it is going to get to a zero budget every month. So again, looking at my personal situation, I get my income, I pay out my expenses. Anything that is left in that very last bucket, I do put in an investment account. Because there is a rule, guys, that says no one ever became a millionaire from putting money in a savings account or setting money aside. Money is meant to be invested, and that is where it is going to grow and prosper. Using something like the rule of 72, how many years is it going to take you for your money to double? You should know that for sure. When you get to this point, this is when you want to look at places you can cut your spending or you can cut your expenses. Now, what this could mean to you, getting insurance cheaper, looking at, remortgaging possibly to a lower rate, looking at refinancing a car possibly to a lower rate, cutting out some of the credit cards, cutting out or doing a debt consolidation, which of course is going to lead to a much lower expense. Now, the trick with this, guys, is you have to make sure that you do not acquire new expenses and actually rack those credit cards back up. Now, using it as a tool, so taking the emotional value out of it and using it as a tool, which it is meant to be. A lot of people do the zero balance transfers. I don't really agree with them because it is not going to give you a set time and a set term that it is going to be paid off. So essentially, if you have $5,000 in debt, you move it over to an unsecured loan, doing a consolidation loan in, let's say, 3 years with X amount of payments, your payment is going to be zero. That loan is going to be gone. That debt is going to be gone. But again, the big thing with this is not racking up new debt. Now, number 4 gets into tracking your expenses. That is right, guys. Track every expense. Don't leave out the $7 Starbucks. Don't leave out the $15 trip to Dunkin' Donuts, the $25 lunch you had with your friends. This is every single expense, every single month, every time. Now, this is going to take a little bit of time to get used to, guys. And I cannot stress this enough. It is going to take time. There is going to be an adjustment period where you're going to have to get used to it. When you fill up your tank, write it down. When you save money, take it out of the budget. This is the budgeting way that you have to do it. And again, there's probably about 15% of people that actually have a budget, don't even know how many of that percentage do stick to a budget. But this is how you really keep from overspending, is if you're going through and let's say you set $100 aside for meals for the week or for the month, depending where you live, depending what you eat, and you're at that on a Thursday, it's going to be a really hungry week because you're going to have to borrow from somewhere else, or you're going to have to look for ways to really streamline that budget. Now, every month, this gets into creating a new budget. This is part of the zero-based budgeting, guys, is every single month, specific expenses are going to change. Keep in mind what your expenses are, but the expenses are going to change, which means you are going to zero every single month. It is very basic. For many people, it is a much more logical approach to budgeting. Again, we talked a little bit about the 50-30-20 rule with the needs, the wants, and the savings or the investment or the debt repayment, that last 20%. For a majority of people, it doesn't work, guys, because the need category might be a little bit over 50%. The want category, you might have to run into another category or eliminate wants entirely depending on your budget. With the zero-based budget, this makes sure you do not go over your totals. That is a huge thing to do, guys, is making sure, again, that you're getting to that zero. If it is putting money into another bucket, if it is money like I am putting it into into an investment account, it is really the places that I am saving it. There are a lot of advantages over the budgeting, the 50-30-20 rule. Now, again, the 50-30-20 rule is kind of a general guideline, but what I've noticed with this, guys, is the justification. A lot of people can actually do that 20% towards savings or even the 30% for wants. They can have the justification for overspending in want categories, which I do not like. And that is what I've seen a lot of people do, is the necessities or the needs for that 50% actually filter a little bit over to the want. So usually the need category might be about a 40, and then you have your wants at a 50, and still a 20 or less goes to that savings. Or essentially a lot of people do 50-50, where they're not doing anything to repay the debt and they're not putting anything towards savings, which is incredibly difficult, guys, and you're going to have so many problems. There's a point where the money's going to run out. There's a point where the borrowing is going to run out, and fundamentally you're not going to be borrow anything more. So there are a few other ones. The 60% solution, covering your needs and wants with 60%. So the other 40 is for savings. Instead of doing the 50-30-20, it makes a bigger bucket for your needs and wants, and then it has a much smaller bucket when it comes to the savings. Now in that category, of course, retirement, long-term savings, short-term savings, 10% of it is for fun. Some people use the reverse budgeting method. We have a set it and forget it method. Zero-based budgeting, again, is my favorite. And it is the one that I really use. It allows me to maximize and logically, honestly, come to realization of how much I spend if I'm stopping by, the gas station on the way to work, if I'm going to Speedway, if I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. The rationalization for me is if I'm putting $15 out at a restaurant or $15 out at Starbucks, that is $15 that the opportunity cost could go elsewhere, could go into some cryptocurrency, could go into an investment account, could go into a college savings for my kids. The justification, again, you really have to think about it and you have to take accountability, because every dollar has a place, guys, and every dollar that you're spending somewhere else is a dollar you're not saving. It is a dollar that you're not putting into your debt repayment. Also remember that is, again, if you're putting out, let's say $10 or $15 to Starbucks, that is $10 or $15 that you're paying elsewhere because you're not eliminating that debt. If you have debt, guys, it is really the absolute biggest hurdle you are going to carry for the rest of your life. Not only the mental aspect of it, but the financial aspect that can hinder the entire life that you have and the financial freedom that we're trying to grow out of this channel. So, all right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. If you like the content that I am providing to you guys, consider subscribing to the channel and let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.